Hello. We are in my favorite place in Dubai, which is the DIFC, the Dubai International Finance Center, and behind me is the Museum of the Future. This is probably the most futuristic museum when it comes to fabrication, and I think it's the most fitting place for me to tell my story of my first business, which failed. That was a business of digital fabrication. The idea itself was future proof, but the problem was me. If you're a business owner and you're watching this, chances are that you are also the problem in your business. And please don't try to do what I tried to do for 8 long years before I realized I was doing it all wrong. Now, let's begin the story. It was 2016, and I was already specialized as a digital fabricator. Like, I would do parametric design for architecture, I would use 3D printing, I would use laser cutting, I would use CNC, and I thought in my 26 years of existence that digital fabrication is something that everybody is supposed to know, mandatory, because it empowers people. This is one of the decentralizations, the major decentralizations caused by the fourth industrial revolution. So, if you're not familiar with the other three industrial revolutions, it's when they invented the steam engine, when they invented the production line, when they invented the computer, and when they invented AI. Yes, jobs start disappearing, but it actually is a moment of empowerment for everybody because suddenly everybody is now independent to create. And it goes so far that they can even build their own stuff without having to rely on factories, on carpenters, on any type of workers. The reason why I started digital fabrication was because I was an architecture student and we had to do a lot of models, like physical models, and my models completely sucked. They were terrible. I would cut my fingers. They were absolutely the worst. And around the third year, when I was held back because I didn't want to go to my exams, um, I figured out this hack in which I wasn't even touching the models anymore when I was building them, but I would program some machines to build my models. And from the absolute worst 3D models, like physical models, I had the best models. Like, they were spectacular. Some of them were like full on transparent plexiglass, translucent. I would engrave the floor plans. They were spectacular. At one point, I started 3D printing them. Then I would use like composite 3D printing. And that was a moment for me to be empowered. And I thought everybody needed this. And so I started a makerspace dedicated to, well, high school students and college students to for them to learn the tools of the 21st century, which actually help them develop their own products and their own businesses. So, fabrication was just a pretext for them to learn about how to properly test their ideas against the market. Needless to say, having a makerspace costs a lot of money, and sooner or later, I realized that we had to start actually making business to keep to keep the makerspace alive, and so we started doing fabrication for clients. Um, when you have something like a CNC, or a 3D printer. Those are machines that can do absolutely anything. And that's why we did set design and set fabrication, like huge festival fabrication, one off, stuff like that. People would imagine they would want the weirdest stuff, and we would build them. And things were going okay. And at one point, we even managed to land a partnership with an aviation company to teach young people how to use digital fabrication tools to then land a career in the aerospace industry. That was January 2020. In March 2020, we were supposed to have our first presentation about this, and everybody knows what happened. Um, because there were no events, because there was no face to face education, luck would have it that we would start building custom parts for cars, like body kits. Think carbon fiber, think lips, think spoilers, stuff like that, body kits. And that's what kept it alive eventually. But another thing happened in February 2022. If you are European or Eastern European, you know that one invasion caused the energy prices to 3x over the span of like 2 months. And these kinds of fluctuations, like material costs and energy costs, they really kill businesses of that size. So then I started downsizing, and we started doing art fabrication. We started doing more design and outsourcing the fabrication. But at one point, I was kind of burnt out of all the experience. And I decided to close it down. And I sold it. But I didn't sell the business. I sold parts of it. I sold the equipment itself. And to this day, it is my biggest failure. The fact that no matter what I tried to do and how hard I tried to pivot and to optimize, I couldn't make that business grow the profit margin. And 6 months later, after I closed down the business and sold it, I gutted it and sold the parts. I stumbled on the concept of you could actually sell the entire business. I didn't know about this. I didn't know that you could sell the business itself with the clients, not only the equipment, with the frameworks. As a side note, to this day, I still get DMs from people wanting me to help them with fabrication, and I can't. But that's an opportunity that has been lost because I did not sell the business itself. So, the takeaways from my 8 year experience with a business that sounded future proof but didn't last more than 8 years are the following. Number one, if you are the leader of a business, you must set up the systems so the systems work for you. I felt the need to intervene in many aspects of the business itself. And instead of focusing on what exactly was my responsibility, which was bringing money in and fulfilling long term partnerships, I was operating the CNC. I was welding. I was painting. I was 3D modeling. I was doing all sorts of stuff that a leader shouldn't do. Number two, the business itself is the asset, not you and not your equipment. The business, the systems, the symbol is more valuable than the object itself, like Jenny Holzer said. So if you get sick of your business, think of it as an asset that you could sell. And number three, if you actually want to sell your business, think of it in modules. All of the departments of it have to be modular. Finance is a module, sales is a module, tech is a module, management, of course, is a module itself, marketing is a module. Think of it modularly because that's the only way you can actually scale a business and remove yourself from all the processes. So, if you already have a business, I suggest you start building the systems and removing yourself. And if you don't yet have a business, I really suggest from the very beginning you build it like you're supposed to sell it. If you're a little confused about what I said, or if you're confused about the role that you should have in your own business, I've prepared, after I closed down my old business, a 5 point exercise for business clarity, after which you will know which parts of the business you're actually supposed to be working on and from which parts you should immediately remove yourself. As a side note, I've noticed, of course, from my own experience, as well as for the clients I've worked for, that we might say that we need help in running the business, but in reality, our ego comes in the way of this because we think we know best. We think we know better than other people just because we are the owners of the business. I assure you that is not true. I assure you that you're probably the bottleneck already for many processes of your business just because you think you know best. And I am 100% sure that your that there are many other people that are better than you in different aspects of the business. I suggest you let them work on it. There is an expression in German: when you light a cigarette from another cigarette, they say you kill a sailor because you don't use a match. And back in the day, sailors would make matches. And so, if you don't use a match, you kill a sailor because you starve him. Give the people jobs. Make your business modular. Build your business as an asset, which you can eventually sell if you choose to. Remove yourself from the processes as much as possible. That's what your business needs. Download my business clarity tool, and thank you for your time.